danken, dass wir nochmal dein Wort studieren können.
And I want to ask you to help us to understand the word,
Und ich möchte bitten, dass du uns hilfst, dein Wort zu verstehen.
to think spiritually and not
Sinnerlich.
to think spiritually and not naturally,
Um geistlich zu denken und nicht natürlich zu denken.
and to remember all the points you have showed us already,
Und dass wir daran denken werden, an alles, was du uns bereits aufgeklärt hast.
that these things might be reality to our mind.
Und dass diese Dinge real werden in unserem Gedanken.
Please help us to gather the oil and be changed by it.
Bitte hilft uns, das Öl zu sammeln und dabei verwandelt zu werden.
And I ask you for this and thank you in Jesus' name.
Und ich bitte darum und danke in Jesu Namen.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay, go to the book of Joel.
So, gehen wir zum Buch Joel.
Okay, we were looking at this the other day,
Und vor ein paar Tagen haben wir das angeschaut.
and there was some thoughts made me think about some things after Fyodor was making some points on this.
Und Bruder Fjodor hat einige Sachen auf dem Buch Joel erklärt und das hat mich zum Gedanken gebracht.
Because when you look at the language of the book of Joel, I mean, Joel was a prophet to Judah.
Also wenn du die Sprache des Buches Joels anschaust, dann sieht es so aus, als Joel ein Prophet zur Juda war.
You know, and so anyway, I had to think about some things after he made those points.
Und ich möchte an einiges nachdenken, nachdem Bruder Fjodor einige Punkte gemacht hat.
So anyway, he was looking at it from a historical aspect, and we're now going to look at it and put it online.
Und Bruder Fjodor hat den Buch Joel aus einer historischen Blickwinkel betrachtet, aber jetzt werden wir das so anschauen, dass wir es auf unsere Linie legen.
Okay, so first thing we have to do when we are, I didn't even get it out of my mouth, but that's nice that everybody's so keen to give the right answer, right?
Also ich habe es noch nicht zu Ende gesprochen, aber das ist schon, dass alle so bereit sind, die richtige Antwort zu geben.
So the first thing
Wir müssen den Prophet lokalisieren.
okay, so we have to look at Promet, right? So where is Joel standing on our line,
So auf unserer Linie, wo steht Joel
and why?
und warum?
Okay, let's just start with there.
Also lasst uns mit der Frage wo anfangen.
Okay, the ninth hour,
An der
right?
9. Stunde.
So Joel is standing right here, and he's speaking to Judah, right?
Also Joel, der steht hier und spricht zu Juda.
So what does Judah represent?
Und wer ist Juda? Wem stellt das dar? Oder was stellt Juda dar?
What does Judah consist of?
Woraus besteht Juda?
Two tribes,
Zwei
right?
Stämme.
Judah and Benjamin, right?
Juda und Benjamin.
So there's the 2 and the 10,
Das
right?
sind die 2 und die 10.
So what's another name for the 10?
So, was ist ein anderer Name für die 10?
Ephraim.
Yes, Ephraim, Samaria.
Also Ephraim, Samaria.
Okay, so now we know in the history that it says that Samaria was taken, right? It's talking about the 10 tribes, right?
Also geschichtlich, wir wissen, dass Samaria eingenommen worden ist. Das spricht über die 10 Stämme.
Okay, so let's just begin reading, right? It's in verse 1.
So Vers 1, lasst uns lesen.
It says, "The word of the Lord that came to Joel, the son of Pethuel, hear this, ye old men, and give ear, all ye inhabitants of the land. Hath this been in your days, or even in the days of your fathers?" So, who does he begin speaking to?
So, zu wem fängt an zu sprechen?
The old men, right?
Die alten Männer.
Now, just keep this thought, just go back to Ezekiel, go to Ezekiel 9.
halte diese Gedanke und geht zurück zu Hesekiel 9. Halte unseren Platz hier.
Vers 3.
Vers 3.
It says, "And the glory of the God of Israel was gone up from the cherub, whereupon he was, to the threshold of the house. And he called to the man clothed with linen, which had the writer's inkhorn by his side. And the Lord said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and cry, for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. And to the others he said in mine hearing, Go ye after him through the city, and smite. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark. And begin at my sanctuary, and they began at the ancient men which were before the house."
Bis Vers 6.
Right? So where did they begin?
So, wo
Slay.
fingen sie an zu schlachten?
The old men, it's the ancient men, it's the same people,
Bei
right?
diesen alten Menschen, also die antiken Menschen, ist derselbe Menschen wie in Joel.
Okay, so when we understand that Ezekiel 9 begins right here, right?
Sorry, where did you point him out?
At the midnight.
Also wir verstehen, dass Hesekiel 9 fängt ja am Mitternachtsruf an.
Right?
Amen.
And the man with the writer's inkhorn, he's going through the midst of the city, and what is he doing?
Und diesen Mensch mit der Schreibwerkzeuge, er geht durch die Mitte der Stadt und was tut er?
Setting a mark on their foreheads.
Yeah, he's putting a seal on all those that are sighing and crying for all the abominations, right?
Er versiegelt all diejenigen, die heulen und wehklagen, des Gräueltatens wegen.
Which abominations?
Also welche Gräueltaten?
The ones from Ezekiel 8, right?
Diejenigen von Hesekiel 8.
Okay? So in Ezekiel 8, you got these 4 abominations, and the 4th, right, is when they bow down to the sun,
Also
right?
in Hesekiel 8 hat man diese 4 Gräueltaten und der 4. ist da, wo sie sich den Sonne niederbeugen.
And when they get to this point, right, that's basically their probation is closed, right? And she tells us that, right?
Hier ankommen, Ellen White sagt uns, da schließen sie ihr Gnadentum.
And does it tell us in Christ Object Lessons 412 that this is the close of probation?
Und erklärt es uns auch in Christi Gleichnisse 412, dass das der Schluss der Gnadenzeit ist?
Right? So you're just going to demonstrate here whether you sin unto death or your sin is not unto death, right?
Also du wirst hier nur offenbaren, ob deine Sünde bis aufs Tod ist oder eben nicht.
So the man with the writer's inkhorn goes through the midst of the city, setting a mark upon the forehead of all the people that's sighing and crying, right?
Also der Mensch mit der Schreibwerkzeug geht durch der Stadt hindurch und setzt den Siegel auf den Stirn all diejenigen, die wehklagen und heulen.
So when Christ says here it is finished, what do the other men do?
So wenn Christus hier an der 9. Stunde sagt, dass es vollbracht ist, was tun die anderen Menschen?
Yeah, they start to slay. Who are they?
Die fingen an zu schlachten. Also wer sind sie?
Those who went for the test.
Yeah, okay, those that went through the test, right?
Also diejenigen, die durch ihren Test hier hindurchgegangen
What
sind.
did Elisha do right here?
Was tat Elia gerade hier? Koste
Yeah, he did 50? No, Elisha said that to cursed the 42 children, or cursed the children, and these 2 bears came and tear 42 of them, right?
Was it not 50 children? Am I going
No,
wrong?
not 42.
42.
42 was,
60.
it doesn't matter, anyway. Also Elia, der hat den 42 Kindern hier geflucht, Elisa.
Verflucht.
Verflucht.
Elisha.
Elisa.
Elisa and Elia.
Yeah, they said Elia.
Did I? Oh,
I
sorry,
don't know.
Eliza.
Yeah,
Elisa.
Okay. Okay, so they begin, right here at the ancient men, right?
Also sie fangen gerade hier an diesen alten Männern.
And it's this principle when they brought Mary Magdalene and threw her at the feet of Jesus, right?
Das ist dieses Prinzip, wenn sie Mary Magdalena genommen haben und zur Füße Jesu geworfen haben.
What did Christ do?
Was hat Christus getan?
He wrote his finger.
Yeah, the finger of God, right?
Also er schrieb in den Dreck mit dem Finger Gottes.
Okay, and it started with the eldest
Yes.
and went all the way through to the youngest, right?
Es fing an mit den Ältesten bis zu den Jüngsten.
So go back to Joel,
Also zurück zu Joel,
verse 2.
Vers 2.
So it says, "Hear this, ye old men, and give ear, all ye inhabitants of the land. Hath this been in your days, or even in the days of your fathers? Tell ye your children of it, and let your children tell their children, and their children another generation." Right? So there's 4 generations, right?
Also 4 Generationen werden hier erwähnt, bis Vers 3.
So while the 5 men are going through the city slaying, there's a last opportunity for the lost sheep, right?
Während diese alten Männer durch die Stadt hindurchgehen, um zu schlachten, es gibt eine letzte Gelegenheit für die verlorenen Schafe. Okay? Amen?
Okay, so just there's many other things we could put here, but I'm just trying to follow this.
Also es gibt viel mehr, was wir hierzu sagen können und dazu markieren können, aber ich möchte einfach mal hier durchfolgen.
Okay, so he's asking this question. Hath this, something has happened, right?
Also er stellt die Frage, ist dies, also irgendetwas ist geschehen.
Then he says, tell your children of it, whatever it was that's happened, right?
Was auch immer dies ist, er sagt, erklärt es euren Kindern.
And then when you get to verse 4, he tells you what's just happened, right?
Und dann im Vers 4 erklärt uns, was gerade geschehen worden ist.
It says, that which the palmer worm hath left, hath the locust eaten, and that which the locust hath left, hath the cankerworm eaten, and that which the cankerworm hath left, hath the caterpillar eaten, right? So, how many insects?
So wie viele Insekten?
4, right? And it, as Fyodor made the point the other day, in verse 6,
Und wie Bruder Fjodor vorherigen Tag den Punkt gemacht hat, im Vers 6,
it's a nation, right?
es spricht über eine Nation.
Because it says, for a nation is come upon my land strong and without number. So these 4 insects represent a nation,
Diese
right?
4 Insekten stellen eine Nation dar.
And when you go to Joel chapter 2, verse 20,
Wenn wir zu Joel Kapitel 2 und Vers 20 gehen,
it says, but I will remove far off from you the northern army, and will drive him into the land barren and desolate. So this nation that's come upon them, who are they?
so diese Nation, die auf sie gekommen ist, wer sind sie?
Right, it's an army from the north,
Das
right?
ist eine Armee aus dem Norden.
Right. So, and when you come down to verse 25,
Und im Vers 25,
and I will restore to you the years that the locust hath eaten, the cankerworm, the caterpillar, and the palmer worm, my great army, which I sent among you, right? So, it tells you that he's standing here,
es erklärt uns, dass er gerade hier steht,
and there's 4 insects come upon them that represent a nation, an army, and they're from the north, right?
also das ist 4 Insekten, die auf sie gekommen sind, die stellt eine Nation dar, eine Armee und sie sind aus dem Norden her.
Okay, so which is the northern army that comes against God's people at the end of the world?
So, wer ist das Nordarmee, die gegen Gottes Volk am Ende der Welt kommt?
The state power in connection with the pigs.
Yeah, okay, the state power, but what is
Threefold union.
Yeah, the threefold union,
Also
right?
die dreifaltige Union der Staatsmacht im Zusammenhang mit der Papst.
And it's represented by the statue,
Und
right?
es wird dargestellt durch den Statue.
How many parts?
Wie viele Teile?
4, right? So the 4 parts are Babylon,
Also die 4 Teile sind Babylon,
Medo-Persia,
Medo-Persien,
Greece,
Griechenland.
and we know that the fourth is Rome, this two-horned pope, right?
Wir wissen, dass der vierte Rom ist, diese zweihörnige Macht.
Right?
Amen.
So we can see that Ezekiel 9 is in direct relation to the book of Joel. They're both demonstrating the same thing, right?
Also wir können sehen, dass Hesekiel 9 ist in direkter Verbindung mit Joel, also die beide erklären über dasselbe Ding.
So the 5 men with the slaughter weapons that begin at the ancient men right here is just a parallel to Joel giving the message, right?
Also die 5 Männer, die hier stehen mit den Schlachterwaffen in Hesekiel 9, ist eine Parallelstelle zur Joel, der diese Botschaft gibt.
So these 4 insects, which is this northern army, which is the statue,
Diese 4 Insekten, was das Nordarmee ist, was der Statue ist,
which is Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, and Rome,
was Babylon, Medo-Persien, Griechenland, Rom ist,
is a representation of those 4 abominations,
ist eine Darstellung von diesen 4 Gräueln.
right?
Amen.
So, and the 4 abominations, what are they?
Und die 4 Gräueln, was sind sie?
What are they, Philip? The 4 abominations?
Was sind sie?
Corrosive.
No, I'm not asking, I'm asking what are they? What's the first one?
Was ist der erste?
What's the second one? What's the third one? And what's the
Zweite,
fourth
dritte und
one?
vierte.
No, I know that answer, but what do they represent? So, Daniel, okay, pride, right?
Also Stolz und Eifersucht.
Second one,
Zweite,
spiritualism.
Spiritismus.
Third one,
Slavering. False message.
Yes.
Philosophy.
and it's Greece is a, well, we'll come to those points in a minute, right? So it's a false message, right?
So eine falsche Botschaft.
And the last one, sun worship, right?
Der letzte, Sonnenanbetung.
And when you look at those things, top one, the lion. What did Nebuchadnezzar do?
Und wenn wir diese Dinge anschauen, also der Obrige hier, Nebukadnezar, was tat er?
Lifted himself up in pride, right?
Er hebte sich selbst im Stolz.
This not Babylon, which I built of the pride of, over the might of my power,
Ist
right?
das nicht große Babylon, die ich in der Macht meiner eigenen Power erzeugt habe?
Medo-Persia has this 3 ribs in its mouth, right?
Medo-Persien hat diese 3 Rippen im Maul.
What's the 3 ribs?
Was sind diese 3 Rippen?
The 3 frogs that you find in Revelation 16,
Also
right?
die 3 Frösche, die man in Offenbarung 16 findet.
Right? And those 3 frogs, Sister White represents spiritualism.
Diese 3 Frösche, White sagt uns, die stellen Spiritismus dar.
Catholicism, apostate Protestantism, and spiritualism. All 3 of them are all spiritualism, all of them.
Das ist Katholismus und sorry?
Katholizismus.
Katholizismus, es ist Spiritismus und es ist abgefallener Protestantismus. Und Ellen White sagt, alle 3 sind Spiritisten.
They're all spiritualism, just in a different form, right?
Sie sind alle Spiritismus, nur in anderen Form.
And Greece is the symbol of philosophy, right?
Und Griechenland stellt die Philosophie dar.
And what's the Omega apostasy about at the end of the world?
Und der Omega-Abfall am Ende der Welt, worüber handelt es sich?
Intellectual philosophy.
Human philosophy, right?
Menschliche Philosophie.
Okay, and it leads down to the last one. When you bow down to the sun and give up the Sabbath, your probation closes, right?
Das führt zu der letzten Sonnenanbetung. Wenn du dann niederbeugst und den Sabbat aufgibst, du schließt dein Gnadentum.
Okay, so makes perfect sense then that Joel is standing here now,
Also
right?
das macht völlig Sinn, wenn wir jetzt sehen, dass Joel hier steht.
Right? And when you go back there, right,
Also zurück zu Joel
in
1,
chapter 1, in verse 5,
Vers 5.
it says, "Awake, ye drunkards, and weep and howl, all ye drinkers of wine, because the new wine, for it is cut off from your mouth." Right? Now, according to Revelation 11,
Ja, gemäß Offenbarung 11,
what happens to the 2 witnesses right here?
Was geschieht mit den zwei Zeugen hierauf?
They're lifted up, right?
Also die werden erhoben.
Come up hither, right?
Kommt herauf.
And what happens upon the nations when that takes place?
Und wenn Sie das sehen, was geschieht unter den Nationen? Great fear.
Great fear comes upon them, right?
Also große Furcht kommt auf sie.
Deuteronomy 2:25, this time I will put the fear of you upon the nations, right?
Also 5. Buch Mose 2,25, ich werde die Furcht der Nationen aus dich nehmen.
So, what is the Lord proving right here?
So, was prüft der Herr gerade hier?
Who is his people?
Yeah, he's proven that he has a people on earth, that all these people have been mocking, scoffing, abusing in this time period,
Also
right?
beweist gerade hier, dass ein Volk auf Erden hat. Also diesen Volk, die hier durchgegangen sind und die verspottet, verhöhnt und alles Mögliche.
He takes the filthy garments of you, right, all those sins that they put upon you, and he sticks them back upon their heads, right?
Er nimmt diese dreckige Gewände von dir, all diesen Lügen und so weiter, dass sie auf dich gelegt haben, und er tut sie oder führt sie genau auf ihrem Häupter zurück.
And everybody's going to see that take place, and great fear will come upon them, right?
Und alle werden das sehen und große Furcht wird über sie kommen.
Okay, so when Elisha gave the message right there, and those men mocked him, they never did it again, right?
Also als Elisa diese Botschaft hier gab, wenn diesen Menschen ihm verspottet haben, die haben es nie wieder getan.
Right? That's what it says, right? It's written for the end of the world.
Es steht geschrieben so und das ist für die Ende der Welt geschrieben.
If you're faithful right here, the Lord is lifting you up, and nobody's going to tangle with you anymore. Not,
The nations will have fear.
they will be afraid of you, right?
Also wenn du treu bist, der Herr wird dich hier erhöhen und die Nation, die werden sich vor dir fürchten.
John, right?
Johannes.
They threw John in a pot of boiling oil,
Die haben Johannes in ein Topf von kochendes Öl beworfen.
and what happened to him?
Und was ist mit ihm geschehen?
Nothing.
Gar nichts.
They couldn't get rid of this man,
Die
right?
konnten diesen Mann nicht loswerden.
So they stuck him on Patmos because they were terrified of him, right?
Also sie haben ihn zum Insel Patmos verbannt, weil sie sich fürchten vor ihm.
So this experience right here was going to have the effect on all those people that have been deceived by those false prophets, right?
Diese Erfahrung, die wir hier haben, wird einen Effekt auf all diejenigen haben, die von diesen falschen Propheten verführt worden waren.
So he says, "Awake, ye drunkards, and weep and howl," right?
Er sagt, wache auf, ihr Betrunkenen, und heult und wehklagt.
Verse 6.
Vers 6.
For a nation is come upon my land, strong and without number, whose teeth are the teeth of a lion, and he hath the cheek teeth of a great lion, right? So, verse 7.
Vers 7.
He hath laid my vine waste, and barked my fig tree, he hath made it clean bare, and cast it away, the branches thereof are made white. So, what is Joel talking about now? What's
So,
happened?
Worüber spricht Joel hier? Was ist geschehen?
Historically, what happened?
Geschichtlich, was ist geschehen?
Samaria was
Right,
destroyed.
Samaria was destroyed, right?
Also Samaria würde zerstört.
Okay, this point that I didn't click in my mind, right? But, so, this is a representation of what then? These four insects are coming upon whom here?
Also diese 4 Insekten kommen auf wen hier?
Samaria,
Also
right?
Samaria.
Okay, now once we got this point, then another thing clicked in my mind, right?
Jetzt, wo wir das festgestellt haben, eine andere Sache in meinem Kopf hat Klick gemacht.
Okay, Samaria. Go to Matthew chapter 10.
Gehen wir jetzt zu Matthäus Kapitel 10.
Now, also, Brother Stefan wrote me the other day, he was asking me a question about this, so maybe he's watching and get this point.
Bruder Stefan hat mich neulich eine Frage gerade hierüber gefragt, und wenn er zuschaut, dann vielleicht bekommt er hier seine Antwort.
Okay, verse 1.
Vers 1.
It says, and when he had called unto him his 12 disciples, how many?
Wie viele?
12, right?
12.
So if there's 12 disciples, right, and what's the 12 disciples a parallel to?
Also wenn es 12 Jüngern gibt und die 12 Jüngern, wofür sind sie eine Parallele?
The 12
Die
tribes,
12 Stämme.
okay? And we know that there was 12 spies from all Israel, they were sent into the land, right?
Wir wissen, dass es 12 Spione gab von ganz Israel, die in das Land hineingesandt worden sind.
Right? And what was the division, what was the number or what was the percentage of the division that took place at the rebellion?
Und bei den Rebellionen, was war der Anzahl von diejenigen, die rebellierten?
Same 10 and 2.
10 and 2, right?
10 gegen 2.
So you can see that these 12 disciples here, they're a symbol of Israel, right?
Also diese 12 Jüngern hier sind ein Symbol für ganz Israel.
Right? And the 10 that rebelled would represent Samaria,
Die
right?
10, die rebellierten, die würden den Samaria darstellen.
Okay, so let's read, right?
So, lesen wir weiter.
When he had called unto him his 12 disciples, he gave them power against unclean spirits to cast them out and to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease. Now the names of the 12 apostles are these: the first Simon, who is called Peter, and Andrew his brother, James the son of Zebedee, and John his brother, Philip and Bartholomew, Thomas and Matthew the publican, James the son of Alphaeus and Lebbaeus, whose surname was Thaddeus, Simon the Canaanite, and Judas Iscariot, who also betrayed him. These 12 Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not.
Bis Vers 5.
Always bugged me, right? Why does he say the Gentiles and then say, and the Samaritans,
So,
right?
das hat mich immer genervt in dem Sinne, also warum sagt er den Heiden und danach die Samariter?
Because in some sense, the 10 tribes are a symbol of the Gentiles, depending on context, right?
Gemäß Kontext, manchmal sind die 10 Stämme, also die Samariter.
But not in this
Und ein
context.
Symbol für die Welt.
Die sind ein Symbol für die Welt, thank you, sorry. Aber nicht in diesem Kontext.
Okay, so there's 12 disciples, they're told this is not the time to go to the Gentiles, they're commanded, right?
Also die 12 Jüngern, ihnen wird gesagt, das ist nicht die Zeit, zu den Heidenvölkern zu gehen, das ist ein Befehl.
But you're also not to go to the Samaritans.
Aber du sollst auch nicht zu Samaritern gehen.
So Samaria consisted of the 10, right?
Samariter besteht aus den 10 Stämmen.
Okay, so there's a commandment given here, right?
Also hier wird ein Befehl gegeben.
Okay, the commandment is to go to the lost sheep, right?
Und das Befehl ist zu den verlorenen Schafen zu
And
gehen.
we know that when there's a commandment given here, you get to hear there's no new commandment, it's the same commandment.
Und wir wissen, dass wenn hier ein Befehl gegeben wird, wenn wir hier ankommen, wir wissen, dass es kein neues Gebot gibt. Es ist eben selbe Gebot.
Okay, so from this, if this is a representation of Samaria being, what did you say at the beginning, Philip? Right, what does it represent? You said it? Okay, a progressive fall, right, of the 10 tribes, right?
Wenn das eine Darstellung ist von einem progressiven Zerfall, die 10 Stämme,
Right? So, Matthew 25 and verse 5, what does it say?
so Matthäus 25 und Vers 5, was sagt es uns? Oder was sagt es?
While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept.
Der Bräutigam verzögert, die schliefen alle ein.
So when they're sleeping, what happened?
Also während sie schliefen, was geschah?
The enemy comes in, right?
Der Feind kam hinein.
And he starts sowing his tares, right? It's the seed,
Er
right?
fängt an, sein Unkraut zu säen, seine Samen.
And it's progressive, right? It starts to grow in their hearts, right?
Es ist progressiv, es fängt an, in ihrem Herzen zu wachsen.
And it begins with pride, and then it develops into spiritualism, and it leads to make a false message, and it leads to finally sun
Es
worship.
fängt
Right?
mit Stolz an und es führt zu Spiritismus, was führt, dass sie eine falsche Botschaft geben, was führt dazu, dass sie die Sonne anbeten.
Right? That's why we've got to guard our hearts constantly, whether we don't lift ourselves up over our brethren. Right?
Deswegen mussten wir unsere Herzen ständig bewachen, dass wir nicht in Stolz über unsere Geschwister erheben.
So as soon as Christ gives this light right here, Satan's right there, looking to sow his tear and draw you away from that light. Right?
Sobald das Christus sein Licht hier gibt, Satan ist da und versucht dich von diesem Licht zu verführen oder wegzuführen.
And did we see that in this movement?
Und haben wir das innerhalb dieser Bewegung schon gesehen?
Movement goes from here slowly but surely, starts to people falling off all along the way, and then there's this big separation takes place in 2016, and we're down here now, and then there's another separation takes place, and we're sitting here now, and there's 3 groups in our little company, right?
So haben wir das nicht gesehen, dass hier am Anfang ist es so Leute auf den Weg weggefallen sind. You said 2016, you meant 2014.
No.
That's 2014 then.
It's 2014. Also, well, you said 2016 and then another fall away.
Not a separation.
Separation, and it's in fall.
Okay. Oh, that one. Okay, right. Okay, wir gehen hier entlang und die Leute fallen vom Weg weg und dann in 2016 gab es eine Trennung und dann hier eine weitere Trennung gab es. So.
Yes, and that's we're sitting just before this point.
Und wir stehen gerade jetzt vor diesem Punkt.
Okay, so you can see how the correlation between the historical, literal fall of Samaria is teaching us a spiritual lesson, right?
Also wir können sehen, wie der historische Zerfall von Samaria uns eine Lektion erteilt.
Right. What is a Samaritan in the Bible? What is it?
So eine Samariter, was ist das in der
What does
Bibel?
it represent?
Was stellt es dar?
Mystery of iniquity.
Yes, it's a person who has a mingled religion, right?
Es ist der
Der
Geheimnis der Bosheit. Okay. Also somebody who's sorry, go.
Has a mingled religion.
Also jemand, der eine vermengte Religion hat, also so ein, also nicht reines.
They claim to be Christians, but they hold on to idols, right?
Also sie behaupten Christen zu sein, aber die halten fest zu Götzen.
Okay, so why would, okay, is there a command from a quote that we have not to go listen to people that are preaching error?
Also gibt es einen Befehl in einem Zitat, die wir lesen, dass wir nicht gehen und zuhören diejenigen, die irrlehren.
And to whom does that message refer?
Und zu wem ist diese Botschaft geschrieben, also dieser Befehl beschrieben?
I mean, when it's telling you not to go listen to their meetings, whose meetings is it referring to?
Okay, wenn es sagt, dass wir nicht zugehen und ihre Versammlungen zuhören, zu wessen Versammlungen spricht es?
People that were once your brethren in this message, right?
Also diejenigen, die einst unsere Geschwister in dieser Botschaft waren.
So that very quote is saying, don't go to the Samaritans, right?
Also gerade dieses Zitat sagt, geht nicht zu den Samaritern.
Okay. So that is how I would see that, but we got to look at that. We should get some more information on that.
So sehe ich das jedenfalls, aber wir müssen das näher anschauen und uns mehr Informationen darüber sammeln.
Okay.
So, the Samaritan woman then.
Also die samaritische Frau,
She's right here, right?
die ist gerade hier.
Okay. And that's a very good point, right?
Und das ist auch ein sehr guter Punkt.
Because that's who Joel is speaking to, and that's who Christ is speaking to, right?
Das ist, wer Joel spricht zu dieser samaritischen Frau, aber auch Christus hier.
Okay, so that's a nice proof text, right?
Also das ist ein gutes Beweisschrift.
Everybody following?
Kennt ihr folgen?
You following, David?
I thought she's standing after the return of
No, she's standing at the nine. We're not going to get technical on the little time of peace. We're just dealing with, this is the point where God's people now are given a message, and Christ was given a message to the Samaritan woman. Right?
Also das ist der Punkt, wo Gottes Volk eine Botschaft gibt und Christus gab eine Botschaft zu dieser samaritischen Frau.
Okay, but yes, we know there's a little time of peace there, but I'm not getting into that.
Aber wir wissen, dass an der 9. Stunde es eine kleine Zeit des Friedens gibt, aber da wollen wir jetzt nicht eingehen.
Okay, so, okay, next point,
Nächster
right?
Punkt.
It's a big point, right? I don't know how to answer this,
Das
right?
ist ein großer Punkt und ich weiß nicht genau, das zu antworten.
So when we put all that in place, right,
Also nachdem wir all das in ihren Platz gestellt haben,
now we can go to Ezekiel 23,
jetzt können wir Hesekiel 23 aufschlagen.
right? It's a story that I've taught many times.
Das ist eine Geschichte, die ich öfters mal gelehrt habe.
And I can't say that I've ever fully understood it, but you can see the principle in there very clearly.
Und ich kann nicht sagen, dass ich das völlig verstehe, aber auf jeden Fall kann man klar daraus ein Prinzip erkennen.
Okay, let's begin in verse 1.
Lasst uns Vers 1 anfangen.
It says, "The word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, Son of man, there were two women, the daughters of whom?"
Töchtern von wem?
Okay, somebody going to give me who the mother is?
Wird jemand mir erklären, wer der Mutter ist? Petrus. Mother of God.
Just way off. Okay, like you're not clicking. Go back several chapters, right? Go to chapter 16
Also gehen wir zum Kapitel 16
and go to verse 3.
und Vers 3.
Daniela, you want to read that for us, please?
And say, thus saith the Lord God unto Jerusalem, thy birth and thy nativity is of the land of Canaan. Thy father was an Amorite, and thy mother an Hittite.
So who's the mother?
So wer ist der Mutter?
Yeah, the mother's a Hittite, right?
Diese Hittiter.
It's the
Hittite.
same story, right?
Derselbe Geschichte.
All the doing is the prophet has gone there, and now he's coming here. He's going to show us some depth into this woman in Ezekiel 16,
Also der
right?
Prophet in Kapitel 23 zeigt uns nur etwas Tiefe über das, was in Kapitel 16 gesagt worden ist.
Okay, so it says, "Son of man, there were two women," right? What's two women?
So, was ist zwei Frauen?
Doctrines or two.
Yes, it's one woman in Ezekiel 16, but now it's telling us that there's two women,
Es
right?
war eine Frau in Hesekiel 16, aber jetzt sagt es uns, dass es zwei Frauen ist.
Okay. Sorry? Okay. No problem. But, so what I want us to understand, that within the church, what do you say, Susie? Within the church, right, there's two groups, two different thought process, two different doctrines, right?
Also innerhalb von der Gemeinde gibt es zwei Gruppen, zwei verschiedene Lehren, zwei verschiedene Gedankensweisen.
It says, "And they committed whoredoms in Egypt, they committed whoredoms in their youth, there were their breasts pressed, and they bruised their teeth and their virginity. And the names of them were Aholah the elder, and Aholibah her sister, and they were whom?" What does it say?
Die waren wer?
They were mine.
Die waren meine.
Okay,
Vers 4.
go, keep your place there, go back to Ezekiel 16 again.
So haltet den Platz hier und geht zurück zu Hesekiel 16.
Verse 8.
Vers 8.
It says, "Now when I passed by thee and looked upon thee, behold, thy time was the time of love, and I spread my skirt over thee, and covered thy nakedness. Yea, I swear unto thee, and entered into a covenant with thee, saith the Lord God, and thou becamest mine." Right? Amen?
Vers 8.
So we know that this is this birth right here, right?
So wir verstehen, dass gerade hier ist das Geburt.
And it's where the 12 disciples get given power, right?
Das ist, wo die 12 Jüngern Kraft gegeben wird.
But what does it tell us, the problem with the 12 disciples?
Aber was ist das Problem mit den 12 Jüngern?
Judas. Right?
Judas ist noch unter ihnen.
Judas is amongst it, right? And what I want us to understand is that Judas is representing these two women right here.
Und was ich möchte, dass wir verstehen, ist, dass Judas gerade diese zwei Frauen darstellt.
Okay, in some sense, but let's do it.
In gewissem Maße.
So, so it says, and they were mine, and they bare sons and daughters, thus were their names. Samaria is Aholah, and Jerusalem is Aholibah. Right? So what does it tell us right there?
Vers 4, was sagt es uns?
What immediately comes to our mind?
Was kommt sofort zu unseren Gedanken?
Come on, Susie. I know that you're quite bright when you're right. What's it tell? What were we just discussing before? What was the theme?
Was haben wir gerade?
What's the theme of the book of Joel?
Was ist der Thema von Buch Joel?
Right, come on, Joel. Come on, Susie. Joel's standing here. He's giving a message to Judah. Who was this? Who are we talking about right here?
Also Joel steht hier in der 9. Stunde und gibt eine Botschaft zu Judah. Wer haben wir hierüber gesprochen?
Yes, that was the nation that come. But who were they destroying?
Also wer haben sie zerstört?
By beholding you become changed into the same image. Susie. It's written right there. Samaria,
Also
right?
Samaria.
So go back to our text there. Let's read it again, right?
So, geht zurück zu unserem Text und
Vers
lest es
4.
nochmal. Vers 4.
And the names of them were Aholah, and the elder, and Aholibah her sister, and they were mine, and they bare sons and daughters, and thus were the names. Samaria is Aholah, right? And Jerusalem Aholibah. So come now, I'll ask you the question again, Susie. What does it tell us right there?
Was sagt es uns hier?
No. Who's the oldest sister?
Wer ist der älteste Schwester?
Aholah. It says Samaria is Aholah. That's what I wanted you to see.
Samaria ist Aholah.
So it's telling you right here that this, right here, this judgment comes upon is Aloha.
So, es sagt uns, dass diese Gerichte hier aufkommt, kommt auf Aholah.
Right? If our assumptions are correct, then we would say amen to it, right?
Wenn unsere Gedanken sind richtig, dann können wir dazu Amen
And it might not be correct. We have to prove all things and hold fast that which is
Das mag vielleicht nicht richtig sein, wir müssen alles prüfen und das festhalten, was gut ist.
Okay, so it says, verse 5,
Vers 5.
and Aholah played the harlot when she was mine, right? So after this woman right here, this church, enters into covenant with the Lord right here,
Also nachdem dass diese Gemeinde, diese Frau geht in Bündnis mit dem Herrn hinein, gerade hier.
Aholah, right, which represents Samaria, which was part of that movement, right?
Also Aholah, die Samaria darstellt, was ein Teil von dieser Bewegung war.
Right? What does she do?
Was tut sie?
She plays the harlot, right?
Spielt die Hure.
What does it mean to play the harlot?
Was heißt das?
What does it mean spiritually?
Geistlich.
Yes, that you're bringing false doctrine into the church, these strange women,
Also
right?
falsche Lehren bringen sie hinein, diese fremde Frauen.
Okay. It says, and Aholah played the harlot when she was mine, and she doted on her lovers, on the Assyrians, her neighbours, which were clothed with blue, captains and rulers, all of them desirable young men, horsemen riding upon horses. Thus she committed her whoredoms with them, with all them that were chosen men of Assyria, and with all on whom she doted, with all their idols she defiled herself. Now, who is Assyria?
So, wer ist Assyria?
We've been through this recently. Who's Assyria parallel to?
Wer ist Assyria ein Parallel? Babylon.
Okay, make the connections.
So macht die Verbindung.
Come on, Amaris, make the connections. Tell us, why is Assyria Babylon?
So, warum ist Assyria Babylon?
No. Give me some, thus saith the Lord. Why is Assyria Babylon?
Assyria ist Pharaoh und Pharaoh ist
Okay, so whom art thou like to in greatness? Talk about Pharaoh, right?
Mit wem bist du in Größe zu vergleichen? Er spricht über Pharao.
And he likens him to Assyria, right?
Und er vergleicht ihn mit der Assyrer oder Assyria.
Which is the great tree, right?
Also dieser große Baum.
And Nebuchadnezzar is the great tree.
Und Nebukadnezar auch ist dieser große Baum.
You can show that Assyria and Pharaoh and Nebuchadnezzar all represent the same symbol,
Wir werden
right?
sehen, dass Assyrier und Pharao und Nebukadnezar stellen alle dasselbe Symbol dar.
And Sister White takes the golden image on the plains of Jura
Und Ellen White, sie nimmt diese goldene Standbild aus den Ebenen von Jura,
which Nebuchadnezzar set up,
die Nebukadnezar aufgerichtet hat,
and she quotes Isaiah 10.
und sie zitiert Jesaja 10.
Did you say it?
Jura.
Dura.
Oder sie?
Jura.
Okay.
Das
Jura.
war irrelevant. Also
Okay.
machen.
Okay. So, where was that? Okay, so Nebuchadnezzar set up this golden image on the plains of Jura.
Nebukadnezar, der stellte diese goldene Standbild auf den Ebenen von Jura auf.
And Sister White quotes Isaiah chapter 10, which speaks about the Assyrian, right?
Und Ellen White zitiert Jesaja Kapitel 10, der spricht über den Assyrer.
The Assyrian who treads down God, who's going to bring them against this hypocritical nation, right?
Der Assyrer, die er gegen diese heuchlerische Nation bringen wird.
Okay, so therefore when you come back here, she's doting upon Assyria, right?
So, wenn man hier zurückkommt, hier zu Kapitel 23 in Ezekiel, sie spielt auf den Assyrer, also dieses Wort doting heißt, dass sie begehrt. Yes.
Right? So the external teaches us the internal, right?
Also das Externe lehrt uns das Interne.
Just go to Revelation 17,
Geht zur Offenbarung 17.
verse 1.
Offenbarung 17 und Vers 1.
It says, And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of a fornication. Right? So what were the kings of the earth doing and the inhabitants of the earth?
So, was haben die Könige und den Einwohnern der Erde getan?
Yes, but what have they been doing? What does it say? Right. They commit fornication. They've been drinking of our wine, right?
Ehebruch begangen, die haben von ihrem Wein getrunken.
So, and this is Babylon, right?
Das ist Babylon.
Babylon is Assyria.
Babylon ist auch gleich Assyrien.
So, God's people have also been drinking of her wine, right? This is what they're doing right here, right?
Gottes Volk, die haben auch von ihrem Wein getrunken. Das ist das, worüber es hier spricht.
Okay, so, and now go to back to Ezekiel 23, verse 8.
Zurück zu Hesekiel 23 und Vers 8.
It says, Neither left she her whoredoms brought from Egypt, for in her youth they lay with her, and they bruised the breasts of her virginity, and poured their whoredoms upon her. Wherefore I have delivered her into the hand of her lovers, into the hand of the Assyrians, upon whom she doted.
Vers 9.
These discovered her nakedness, they took her sons and daughters, and slew her with the sword, and she became famous among women, for they had executed judgment upon her. Now stop right there.
Vers 10.
What does that remind you of?
Worüber was erinnert das uns?
Sorry? No. Another story, somewhere else. Sorry? No, okay.
Executed judgment?
Yes. Okay, go to the book of Esther. As soon as I say the name, everybody will remember. Right?
Geht zum Buch Esther,
Right? So, look at the story of Vashti, right?
und lasst uns die Geschichte von Vashti anschauen.
In Esther chapter 1,
Esther Kapitel 1.
so verse 10.
und Vers 10.
says, on the seventh day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehuman, Biztha, Harbona, Bigtha, and Abagtha, Zethar, and Carcass, the 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Ahasuerus the king, to bring Vashti the queen before the king with the crown royal, to show the people and the princess her beauty, for she was fair to look on. Right? Where did we put this?
So, wo haben wir das markiert?
Yes, there's this little time of peace here, right? And they're having this feast, right?
Das ist diese kleine Zeit des Friedens hier und die haben diesen Festmahl.
And Christ comes right here to do what? What's he looking for?
Und Christus kommt hier, um was zu tun. Wonach sucht er?
Fruit, right?
Er sucht nach Frucht.
So he wants his bride to have the crown on right here.
Er möchte, dass seine Braut die Krone trägt, gerade hier.
And the parallel to that is Revelation 12. You have this woman, she has the garment, and she has the 12 stars upon her head.
Eine Parallelstelle hierzu ist Offenbarung 12. Die Frau, die hat die Krone um ihrem Haupt, die Sterne und das Hochzeitsgewand an.
Okay, that's the bride,
Das
right?
ist die Braut.
But this woman here refuses to come, right?
Und diese Frau hier, sie weigert sich zu kommen.
So what do?
So was tun sie? Die judgen.
They execute judgment upon her, right?
Also die führen Gericht über sie aus.
Because it says, verse 16,
In Vers 16,
in fact, let's begin in verse 15.
Vers 15.
What shall we do unto the queen Vashti according to the law, because she hath not performed the commandment of the king Ahasuerus by the chamberlains? And Memucan answered before the king and the princes, Vashti the queen hath not done wrong to the king only, but also to all the princes and to all the people that are in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus. For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women, so that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes when it shall be reported. The king Ahasuerus commanded Vashti the queen to be brought in before him, but she came not. Likewise shall the ladies of Persia and Media say this day unto all the king's princes, which have heard of the deed of the queen, there shall arise too much contempt and wrath. If it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and the Medes, that it be not altered, that Vashti come no more before the king Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she. Right? So she loses her crown and is given to another. Right?
Also sie verliert ihre Krone und es wird einer anderen gegeben.
Okay, so when you go back to Ezekiel, we'll just finish on this point.
So, wenn wir zurück zu Hesekiel gehen und hier an diesem Punkt werden wir Schluss machen.
Verse 10
Vers 10.
says, These discovered her nakedness. They took her sons and her daughters and slew her with the sword, and she became famous among women. Did we not just read that did we not just read that in the book of Esther?
Haben wir das nicht gerade im Buch Esther gelesen?
Why did Vashti become famous?
Warum war Vashti bekannt geworden?
So that no woman repeats her mistakes.
No, I'm not asking absolutely. But okay. She became famous because he sent a decree out through all the world, right?
Also sie ist bekannt geworden, weil ein Dekret in der ganzen Welt hinausgesandt hat.
So that everybody would not do what she did,
So
right?
dass keiner tun wird das, was Vashti getan hat.
So she becomes famous when she gets judged,
So
right?
sie ist bekannt geworden, indem dass sie gerichtet worden
And she
ist.
became famous among women, for they had executed judgment upon her. So this event right here is going to be known about, right?
So, dieses Ereignis gerade hier, das wird eine bekannte Ereignis sein.
Okay. So we'll stop there,
So, wir
right?
werden hier aufhören.
Because I don't say that I fully understand this, but if this is correct, it's teaching us the two judgments of two different groups within the Omega apostasy.
Also ich behaupte nicht, das richtig verstehen zu können, aber wenn ja, dann es lehrt uns die zwei verschiedene Gerichte über zwei verschiedene Gruppen innerhalb der Bewegung.
And I also think what Phyllis's characters represent Jeff's and Parmenter's camp.
Und ich stimme, was Bruder Fjodor gesagt hat, zu. Ich glaube, dass es stellt sowohl Jeff auf der einen Seite und Parmenters Camp auf der anderen Seite da.
But we'll take this up again tomorrow morning, but there's just some thoughts that I don't know how to answer them.
Also morgen früh werden wir hiermit fortfahren, aber es gibt einige Gedanken, ich weiß jetzt noch nicht, sie zu antworten.
Okay?
Amen.
Everybody follow?
Kann jeder folgen?
We see the logic.
Kann jeder die Logik dahinter sehen?
God will, whenever we bring something forth, the Lord always adds to it, right, and confirms it or not.
Also wenn immer wir irgendetwas hervorbringen, der Herr entweder addiert dazu oder bestätigt es oder manchmal auch nicht.
Okay?
Amen.
Shall we close the... So, I'm in the base one now.